To build a strong foundation in tarot, you need a simple strategy that will help you learn and study. And in this video, I'm going to teach you 3 simple strategies that will help you learn, study, and most importantly, read any tarot deck. I am Prometheus. Welcome to Enodius Gate.
I stand at your gate tonight.
Now, for this strategy to work, you will need a few things. You're going to need a tarot deck, and you will need a journal. This is for writing notes, insights, and observations as you learn. The other benefit of the journal is that as you grow and learn about the cards, it will become a kind of glossary for you that you can use to learn how the cards speak to you. And lastly, you will need patience. Now, if you don't have all of these right now, that's okay. Still follow along and acquire them as you learn. I will display an image of the card being discussed so that you can participate even without a deck. Okay, traveler, Enodius torches are lit. The road is illuminated. Now let's begin our walk through tarot. Reading tarot does not begin with only memorizing keywords. It begins with learning how to interpret what you see, and for that to happen, it begins with the first strategy, choosing the right deck. When people first get into tarot, one of the first questions they ask is, what deck should I start with? And the answer for me is pretty simple. The Rider-Waite-Smith deck, which is this one right here, has these cards. I don't know if you guys can see this, but here's my deck, but this is the Rider-Waite deck. And the reason is very practical, because the Rider-Waite deck is the foundation for a lot of the beginner books, classes, and resources that are actually being taught. So if you start there, you're already learning a system that's being taught all over the world and has been taught for a very long time. This matters because your first deck should teach you the alphabet of tarot divination, and the Rider-Waite-Smith deck is the best one for that, since it is practically the foundation for most tarot decks. Now, there are other decks that are out there that teach non-traditional Rider-Waite-Smith. However, in my experience, most beginners struggle when they take this approach because they have a hard time connecting that personal symbolism of the tarot artist with the circumstances in their life. Now, if you insist on getting another deck, because at the end of the day, you're still your own person and you still have free will, I would suggest that you choose a deck that stays as close to the Rider-Waite-Smith framework as possible. So what that looks like is it should have a major arcana, a minor arcana. It should also have recognizable suits and standard court cards. And the symbolism still should connect the system of tarot that's being taught all over the world. And once you've built a stronger foundation, then you can branch off into other more abstract frameworks. To master tarot, you need a deck you are willing to sit with consistently, because tarot is learned through repetition, through observation, and experience. By returning to the same images again and again, the language of tarot begins to open. So choose a deck that you can respect, a deck that you can read clearly, a deck that you can commit to learning. And that brings us to our second part. You have your tarot deck and you're excited and ready to go. Well, before you do, you need to cleanse and bless the cards. And this is more simple than it sounds. The first way you can do it is through incense. You can use frankincense and myrrh, which is a incense that was traditionally used for purification and for sacred practices. The second method that you could use is a water method. You would take a bowl of water, you would bless it, and then you would sprinkle it over the cards. Now, if water damage is an issue for you, the third way to do it is using solar energy. You can take the cards and in the morning or at noon, put them either in the windowsill or somewhere where they can receive direct sunlight, at least for 15, 20 minutes, at most 30 minutes, and then they should be ready to go. Let's go into the second strategy. And the second strategy begins with how to read a card. So what I want you to do is take out your very first tarot card. It should be the Fool card. Now, if it's not the first card, find it somewhere in your deck, but it should be the Fool card. And it should look like this. The Fool begins the entire story of the tarot. So starting here makes the most sense. As you look at the card, I want you to ask yourself 6 questions. Let's go through an example. The first question is, what is happening? In the Fool card, the figure stands on a high cliff at the edge of a drop, suggesting a moment of risk, threshold, or the beginning of something unknown. The second question is, what objects do I see? Here in the card, we see a small bag, a white rose, and a staff, which suggests light baggage, innocence, simplicity, and the idea of carrying only what is needed for the journey. Third question. What is the setting? We see the setting as open, bright, and elevated, giving a sense of freedom, possibility, and a wide potential. But it also means exposure to danger. The fourth question. What postures do I see? Is upright, relaxed, and unguarded, showing openness, trust, and a willingness to move forward without fear. The fifth question is, what is the direction of movement? In the image, the figure's direction is forward, toward the edge, which suggests stepping into a new experience, taking a leap, or advancing without full certainty or care. And our final question is, what is the emotional tone? Well, in our image, it is hopeful, carefree, curious, and bold, but it also carries a note of naivete or a lack of awareness. Now, you may be wondering, with all these questions, what does this all mean? Well, based upon our analysis, if we put all these questions together, the Fool represents a new beginning entered with openness, trust, and courage. It can point to a fresh start, a leap of faith, innocence, freedom, or stepping into the unknown. And at the same time, it can warn against moving forward without enough awareness. So you see how answering these 6 questions will help you interpret any card. And to make this clear, let's do one more example. The 3 of Swords. This is a very polarizing card. So the first question is, what is happening? Well, there's a heart being pierced by 3 swords. This shows pain, sorrow, separation, grief, or a hard truth entering the heart. Secondly, what objects do I see? Well, we see a heart, we see 3 swords, we see rain, and clouds. These are very direct symbols. The heart points toward emotion, love, or the inner self. The swords point to thought, truth, conflict, and mental pain. The rain and clouds add sadness, heaviness, distress. So, what's the setting? The setting is not a physical room or landscape. It's more like an emotional or symbolic space filled with storm clouds and rain. This makes the card feel inward, psychological, and emotional rather than practical or grounded. So, what postures do you see? There's no human figure in the card, but the heart is held in a fixed, exposed position and is being pierced. This gives the feeling of vulnerability, openness, and helplessness. Nothing is shielded or protected. What is the direction of movement? The movement goes into the heart. The swords thrust inward, which suggests that something painful has penetrated deeply. The rain also falls downward, reinforcing a feeling of weight, pressure, and emotional descent. Finally, what's the emotional tone? The emotional tone is sorrowful, painful, and heavy. It can point to heartbreak, disappointment, betrayal, grief, or emotional truth that hurts but cannot be avoided. So, based upon our analysis of the 6 questions, a simple interpretation of the Three of Swords would be the Three of Swords shows pain that reaches the heart. It speaks of heartbreak, grief, or emotional wounding, but also of painful truth. This is a card of sorrow, but not confusion. The pain is clear, direct, and felt deeply. Now, with those 6 questions, that's more than enough to read any tarot card. And tarot only becomes clearer the more you use it. And that brings us to our third and last strategy, which is daily practice. Because on the road to mastery of tarot, the person you will read for most often is yourself. That's right, you. Because it is only by integrating the guidance of tarot in your own life first that you will be able to read its patterns in others. Through you being a personal witness to the power and clarity that tarot brings throughout your day is absolutely essential to being able to read the cards rather than simply interpret them. The most effective method for achieving this is doing a daily reading for yourself, using a spread or layout that will help structure the story of the drawn cards. This is also the fastest way to learn how to read tarot. And if you have a new tarot deck, it probably comes with a guidebook that has a few simple spreads that you can use. And I encourage you to use it. I'm also going to share with you a personal spread that Hecate has given me. It's called the Daily Torch Spread. And I use it every day for guidance and general decision making. And it can even be extended into reading for others. The Daily Torch Spread uses 3 cards. Each one is Hecate's torches. The first card is her first torch, and it shows the road to take. It tells you the right direction to focus for the day. It shows you what to lean into, what attitude to carry, or what action to take. The second card is Hecate's second torch, and it shows the adversity you will face. This tells you what challenge, obstacle, or tension will appear as you take the path. It shows what you need to deal with directly instead of avoiding. And the third card is the third torch. It shows what is hidden and needs to be brought to light. And in doing so, it overcomes the adversity. This reveals something you may not be seeing clearly. It can point to a blind spot, an inner truth, or something beneath the surface. So, as a review, card 1 says, this is the road to take. This is the action you should do. Card 2 says, this is the difficulty you'll encounter when you take that road. And card 3 says, this is what must be recognized or uncovered to overcome the adversity you are facing now that you've taken that road. So when you use this spread, don't rush it and use the manual that your deck came with to interpret, at least in the beginning, because this will prevent any biases from entering your reading. But once you have internalized the 6 questions in your studies, you won't need the book anymore. Try it out for a week and leave a comment if you want and tell me about your experience. All that information can seem a bit overwhelming. So let's do a quick review. Strategy 1. Begin with a deck that is simple and follows the framework of the Rider-Waite-Smith deck, because the tarot should teach you the alphabet before you can start writing sentences. Strategy 2 is 6 questions, and those questions are, what is happening? What objects do I see? What is the setting? What postures do I see? What is the direction of movement? And what is the emotional tone? Then take all of that information and reframe it into a simple meaning. And the third and last strategy is to establish a daily practice. You can even use my daily torch spread, or you can use one of the sample spreads in your guidebook that came with your deck of cards. Because tarot needs to be simple to learn. And as long as you approach it with respect, you approach it with practice, and you approach it with that spirit of curiosity and fun, the tarot, its guidance, and its power will keep on giving.